Hello. So yeah, this is an interesting topic. I do actually have a friend that recommend was reading a book about a scarecrow smut. So it was like dark romance, but the partner was a scarecrow. So I'm curious to see which kind of book or books in general shows us on this. Yeah, let's start.
Oh, I didn't see you there. What am I reading, you ask? Well, just one of the best selling books on Amazon right now. With millions of sales and almost 20,000 5-star reviews,
Okay, millions is
this book
insane.
has been absolutely blowing up, especially on TikTok, or book talk as the kids call it. Thousands and thousands of women in particular have been raving about this piece of literature. What piece of literature is it, you may ask? Well, Morning Glory Milking Farm, of course. A popular romance novel
I
about a
see.
young woman down on her luck who does what every young woman does when facing financial struggle. She starts an OnlyFans. No, I'm just kidding. She wouldn't degrade herself like that. She gets a job jerking off monsters.
That's right, the Morning Glory Milking Farm.
I have been reading Morning Glory Milking Farm since last night, and I'm obsessed.
This was a good time. It did not disappoint.
If this book is trash, then I am a fucking raccoon. Give me all of the
Is she?
garbage.
Okay, I think all these books are. What is this? Plot to our monster, plot of the monster. Yeah, I'm assuming these books are going to be all like smut like this one.
Book is trash, then I am a fucking raccoon. Give me all of the garbage.
So
Get your
yeah.
eyeballs on this because it is so good.
I regret to inform you that there is a new epidemic. An epidemic that many have yet to discuss.
Also, I kinda like. I woke up like a few hours ago, but I haven't talked. So if you hear my voice being a little like deeper than usual, it's because of that. I'm not trying to fake it. This is just the morning voice.
Us. And that epidemic is female gooners. Now, for those of you unaware, gooner is internet slang for someone addicted to.
Imagine if it was
and-
like the reverse. If it was like a guy saying I watch porn and oh, I hit the mic. Imagine if it was just like a guy making a video like that, like I watch porn and then he starts listing the categories, right? Like lesbian, interracial, fit, mommy, dummy, stuff like that. Yeah, that would go hard actually. Maybe someone should do it. Maybe I should do it.
And smut is slang for dark romance novels, otherwise known as porn. Many
Yeah.
correct about the dangers
much.
of porn addiction with men, how it can destroy their lives and their relationships, and most men know the material they consume is
Yeah, it has a
weird.
lot of
That is why
psychological
they are
effects.
ashamed of it. That is why they delete their browser history. That is why they go incognito mode. But these bitches freaks out here. They display their smut openly in bookstores. They proudly pose in front of their smut collections.
Yeah,
They
so many
discuss their
books.
smut openly on TikTok. They go to smut conventions and get choked out by 9-foot-tall shirtless wendigos. Now, I know what you are thinking. Shoo, isn't this the pot calling the kettle degenerate? Yes. Yes, it is. But have you considered it takes one to truly know one? You see, women are
True.
strange, fascinating creatures. For centuries, men have tried to figure us out. Our mood
like
is affected by
millennials.
the tides and the moon. We
Millenniums,
bleed for
maybe.
5 days and don't
1,000
die.
years.
By painting my face, I can instantly shapeshift from a 4 to a 6. We are truly mysterious.
Okay, I will say this. Makeup, it's absolutely broken.
Magical creatures. But one of the most mysterious aspects of women to men is our sexuality. You see, us women are not like those disgusting moids. No, we are sophisticated. We are evolved. We don't watch videos of strangers slapping their sweaty bodies together. No, we read about strangers slapping their sweaty bodies together. It's different, okay? You don't understand. It's okay when we do it.
Yeah, basically,
So let's
it's the
talk
same.
about it. Let's talk about the rapid.
It's actually, if you think about it, it's actually a little even worse because a regular video will. Okay, I'm basing this off of YouTube basically, but 10 minutes, right? Like for the ad revenue. Okay, I actually don't know how it works in the hub, the ad revenue, but 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20, and that's it. But these books take hours to read, so you gotta get deeper into it.
growing popularity of dark
I saw some
romance
thick
on
books
TikTok and
before.
the recent dark romance convention that ended in disaster. Let's take a break. Recent dark growing popularity of dark romance on TikTok and the recent dark romance convention that ended in disaster.
Yeah, I can say I'm surprised about it. Who would have guessed? It's I see.
Let's take a break from all this depressing political news and talk about something silly. Not that those political things aren't important, trust me, they are. You should be keeping up with politics and the news when you can. I know it can be difficult to do, but fear not.
It's a
I
little
have an
awful
app
to
for
do.
that. So before we get into this video, let's quickly give a shout out to our sponsor, Ground News.
I have a love-hate
Ground News
relationship
is a
with
website
politics.
and an app that gives readers an easy way to read news from all across the political spectrum, from left, right, and center. Every story comes with a quick visual breakdown of political bias that helps you understand the full story and makes sure you're getting both sides. One of my favorite features on Ground News is the blind spot feature,
Okay, I
which
will
shows you
admit
news
that
stories that have been covered
if
by
this
one
app
side
was
of
on
the
my
political
country, I
aisle
would get
and
it.
ignored by the other. For example, here's a story about how Gavin Newsom is signing a bill to give 800,000 Uber and Lyft drivers in California the right to unionize. Pretty cool. Rare Newsom W. 12 news sources covered this, 7 were left-wing
That's
and
actually pretty
0 were right-wing, because the right is covering a far more important topic.
Actually, in
Harvard
like
hired
in my country, I think it was the past president actually started to. What am I reading? Okay, what a name! But yeah, actually started to like give like health insurance and actual job perks that normally people would get, but they didn't get, but now they do get, especially because they're on a motorcycle most of the times. It was for food delivery drivers. I don't know if it was for Ubers and TDs and all that, but at least for food delivery, they now do have more rights, more work related rights.
Here's drag performer Lahore Vagistan
Yeah, that is an insane name.
as a visiting professor. 21 news sources covered this, 20 were right-wing, 1 was left-wing. A country divided, truly. Ground News also makes it very easy to compare headlines, so you could see how political bias completely reframes a story. For example, talking about how Trump has been posting a bunch of those sombrero memes, and the New York Post says, White House official behind Trump's hilarious meme war on Dems revealed. And then a left-wing outlet covers the same story, like, as the shutdown continues, a checked-out Trump posts childish memes. Wildly different vibes going on here. I have been using Ground News since 2021. It is one of my favorite apps. Like, it is my go-to, like, when I wake up.
Okay, I'm pausing again, but that's why I love, like, language as a whole. Like, it's pretty interesting how pretty much everything changes tone depending on the words that you use.
Like when I wake up, I like check Twitter and then I check Ground News like immediately. But don't just take my word for it. Even the Nobel Peace Center called it an excellent way to stay informed, avoid echo chambers, and expand your worldview. Best of all, I am currently offering 40% off their Vantage plan, which is the plan I use to access all their amazing features. And it's only $5 a month, which is like basically the price of a coffee nowadays. So go to ground.news/shoe or use the QR code here on screen, or use the link in the video description.
But I find it funny and hate it at the same time that we are starting to use coffee pricing as a measuring unit, because apparently a lot of people do this. I do it myself too. And I mean, it just means coffee it's way too expensive.
So thank you to Ground News for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, for not skipping the ad. Right? So
No,
let's get
paused it
back
a
to
lot.
the video.
But I didn't skip.
Book Talk is a very interesting place, and any book fans out there know how it has absolutely destroyed the hobby of literature and just flooded it with absolute slop. Spicy slop. You see, books on TikTok are not
Yeah, that
rated
happens a
by
lot in
how
stuff.
well they are written or how good the characters are. No, they are rated by the spice. And what does
Basically,
spice
the
mean?
shonen of anime, right?
Porn.
Like the isekais more.
It means porn. Spice level is very important to book talkers. How much spice does a book have? What are the spiciest books they have ever read? How spicy is the book they're currently reading? Spice, spice, spice. And the spiciest book going viral on Book Talk lately is none other than Morning Glory
a
Milking
Minotaur one,
Farm
right?
by C.M. Nascasta. Violet is a typical down-on-her-luck millennial, mid-20s, overeducated, and drowning in debt. Oh my god! She's tough like me! On the
Okay,
verge
but
of
from what I know, millennials, well, maybe they're mid-20s, but more on the closer to 30s. Like they're not 25 or 26, they're more like 28, 29. Okay, maybe it was released earlier. Okay, yeah, forget it. But yeah, millennials are more on the 30s now.
of moving into her parents' basement when a lifeline appears in the form of a very unconventional job in the
It's
neighboring
actually like the border of Gen Z. It's actually closer right now as of 2025. There are a lot of like 27-year-old Gen Z, which sounds pretty. Yeah, it's normally when you hear Gen Z, you think younger, but there are almost 30.
Hambrick Creek. She has no choice but to grab it with both hands. Morning Glory Farm
what a-
offers full-time hours,
what a
full benefits,
description for
and
the
generous pay with no experience needed. There's only one catch. The clientele is grade A certified prime beef. With the manly, meaty endowments to... Okay.
Morning Glory Milking Farm is actually a profound critique of late-stage capitalism and toxic masculinity. In this text, we see that the tingling sensation in her coochie is actually the tingling sensation of a Marxist revolution.
What? What did she say? oh my god.
This is every fucking BreadTube video to me, dude. This is every Jack Saint video. So I actually read the book myself, and
That's gotta be parody, right? There's no way that's true.
I'm not gonna lie. The 19th Amendment needs to be abolished. So, like I said, the story is basically this millennial named Violet, and she gets a job basically working at Big Pharma in Narnia, where they harvest Minotaur milk to make Viagra for human males. And I read the
see.
whole thing. Probably gonna be put on some kind of watch list. But listen, this is my job, okay? I'm not out here like selling feet pics or something. What I do is far more dignified and normal. Now, let's take a look at some of these notes I wrote. Let's see. Big dick and balls. At one point, she says the term, and I quote,
Okay. Getting ready for it.
the seam of his sack. So I'm reading this, and
I
the whole
see.
time I'm thinking like, okay, he probably has like a human head, right? He probably like looks something like this, like, you know, just a dude with like horns. Then I see the official artwork. That's a cow.
Okay, it's way heavier than I thought. It's nothing like the cover one.
Bro is a cow. Bro is a
Yeah.
straight up cow. In a few parts, they're being intimate, and it will be like, his hooves clip-clopped. My hooves will tear up your sheets. And it's like, I'm sorry, his what? At one point, she describes kissing him. And I swear to God, it was more disgusting than anything else described in this book. She's like describing how
imagine.
big and wide his mouth is and how big and like slimy his tongue is. She's like describing the shit, and you're just like, that's a cow. I mean, we are at a solid 5.5 on the Barbeau scale here. This is dangerous territory, folks. She also f***ers his ass. She f***ers the cow's ass. By the way, if you want an uncensored version of this video and all my videos, Patreon. Go to Patreon, become a member. All members get the uncensored version of every video, so you can hear me talk
Oh,
about
that's interesting.
f***ing and f***ing a cow's ass. Is that
That's
what you
actually
freaks
pretty
want?
smart.
Anyway, I like how in this fantasy world, student loans still exist. Like, we can imagine a world
Yeah.
with minotaurs and humans in a relationship, but we can't imagine a world without student loans. Sad. Oh, and he
Yeah, you gotta find a way to make it possible for the self-insert, right? That's why a lot of shonen protagonists and isekai protagonists dress pretty plainly or all in dark or all in black, because that's how most of the readers dress. So you have to have that self-insert possibility.
He has one of those bowl rings, like the nose ring theory septum rings. And in this world, that means, like, you're married, but apparently he's divorced. The man is divorced. This is a divorced cow with a cow ex-wife. The lore
A
is deep,
divorced
folks.
cow.
The funniest part, though, has to be when they go on a date. I need to just read this to you. When the bill arrived, she attempted to pull a handful of carefully folded bills from her wristlet before he stopped her. No, that's absolutely not happening. Put that away. She'd not thought about it until the day after their first dinner together, realizing that in mortification that she ought to have attempted to pay her half. What kind of feminist are you? She asked herself. She couldn't remember the last time she'd been out and hadn't paid for her half, including her coffee date with Carson Tinsley. She had come prepared that night, several weeks of her tips smoothed and tucked into her wristlet. But I didn't even offer to pay half the other night and shouldn't have. Violet. If the commanding rumble of his voice hadn't silenced her. The heat of his hand dropping to her knee would've. I don't want you to feel that you don't have any agency here. I might be the one giving all the orders, but you hold all the cards. Your comfort is the only thing that counts right now. And if I overstep, I want you to know you can tell me so. But that's not happening. Don't think I'm unaware we're at different points in our careers. You can say no, you can say you don't want to see me again, you can tell me to stop coming to the farm when you're working. It's dinner, not a down payment of your time, but I'm in a position to comfortably spoil someone. So when you're with me, I'm spoiling you. End of story. She was a good feminist, she told herself, and she definitely couldn't be bought. But if he had suggested at that moment that he would have appreciated a blowjob, she would have fallen face first on his cock with an open mouth without a shred of hesitation.
Yeah, that that dichotomy is actually pretty common. Okay, so I like reading a lot of psychology, even though I'm not a psychologist. I just like it. So I do know that it's a fairly common dichotomy these days that a feminist woman it likes to be more likes to be more submissive, like with a partner. But then it creates this, oh, but I'm a feminist, so I'm either equal or superior, right? So I can't be submissive. So it makes them feel bad about it or feel like they are betraying their own morals.
Inside every woman, there are two wolves. Or two bowls. The strong, independent girl boss and the submissive, doting housewife. And in the presence of a masculine man, or a farm animal, she will fold like a lawn chair and instantly return to factory settings.
It's dinner, not a down payment for your time. But I'm in a position to comfortably spoil someone, so when you're with me, I'm spoiling you. End of story. I said, okay, I highlighted that paragraph for myself.
Clean up aisle 5. So that's what...
Yeah, but if, for example, I don't know her, but going on that she's probably a millennial woman, you know she has like a feminist side, right? Just because she's a millennial. But this makes her like all like heated up and heavy breathing, right?
Spoiling
So
you. End of story.
That dichotomy that I find so interesting.
I highlighted that paragraph for myself.
Clean up aisle 5. So that's what I thought of it. But what did other people think of it? What are the reviews on this book? This book has a 4.1 on Amazon with 21,000 ratings and a 3.6 on Goodreads with nearly 60,000 ratings. Let's just read some random ones here. Hear me out. Hear me out. A milking good time. Sweet and creamy. The spice is spicing. I was very leery of starting this because I thought it was just gonna be porn. The plot is pretty good. The plot? Please. This is like the new, I read Playboy for the articles. Like, sure you do. This book...
Yeah, actually, a friend of mine recommended me a book because I was interested in this type of book. I was like, why is it so popular? I need to like investigate. So a friend of mine recommended me a book. I don't remember how it's called, but it's about Disney villains. And this one was about Jafar and Jasmine. And I gotta say, there was no plot to it. Like the plot was incredibly second second window, second monitors. Like it was pretty background stuff. The main focus was on like the relationship and like this mod. And then it ended, and I was like, really? That's how it ends? Okay, I see. I don't really care. So yeah, that was pretty much my reaction. But maybe it was on me because I expected a little more plot, but I didn't know the genre. Now that I know it, I wouldn't expect any plot, and that little crumbs of it would have been enough.
Could kill a Victorian child. 5
But yeah, it was
stars.
pretty
I'll
interesting.
never look at a jug of milk the same. I think I'm lactose intolerant now.
Basically, it made me realize
so
I don't like these
that
books.
happened. Our eyes will never see the gates of heaven. 1 star. Not a helpful guide. This book failed to teach me how to milk a cow, and now my family has no food for the winter. 1 star. Accidentally ordered while on pain medication after an operation. Gave this to my mom as a joke gift for Christmas. You what? Let's sigh.
Nice.
Why can't human males be more like this? Tall, rich, and handsome are no longer enough, boys. Now you have
Yeah.
to be a 9-foot tall creature from Greek mythology with a 13-inch dick. I never want to hear from another person about how they read 100 books in a year if this is the kind of slop they are consuming. Well, Ronald, man detected, this isn't for you. This is for women. So take your ass back to Barely Legal Babysitter 5 or whatever the f you watch that is so morally superior than this. Let him who is without sin cast the first stone, okay? God bless America.
I do hate the how books are seen as like, oh, if you read a lot of books, you are very smart. I just think that's a dumb. I think it's just something that originated back when it was true, because back in the day, all the texts were like academical or talking about war, politics, ancient history, maybe even some art, but it was all to cultivate the mind. So I'm not even speaking like in the 2000s. I'm speaking like really back in the day, like when books were first like invented and only that the elite of society could have access to them. Then the printing helped to spread, and it was pretty nice. And then people started to write more, started to write more about entertaining books, entertainment, sci-fi, comedy, fantasy. Yeah, I do think written correctly is pretty good, like Lord of the Rings or like the classics. But it's not like they make you smarter if you just read them, right? You have to really analyze them, and then you can pick up some things. And I've actually it's pretty funny because I have this take, but there have been like real life problems that I have solved with a solution that came from a book. So you could argue that that book, even though it was fantasy, made me a little smarter, because I could create a solution based off it. But that was a really well done book out of like, I don't know, 80 or 100 that I had read in that time. I also like going on that point a little bit more, a little deeper. I do like reading psychology, like I said previously, and I also like reading philosophy. And when I tell people that, oh, I'm really rereading this Plato book or this Socrates stuff. I mean, Socrates never wrote stuff; it was Plato. But people assume like, oh, you must be pretty smart, and I'm like, no, this is the fact that I'm rereading it proves that proves otherwise. And this is that like the basic stuff. This is not really like super complex things. Like I don't know. It's just people have books way too high on a pedestal. They're not that good. They are important, and I would recommend everyone to read, especially like basically at least basic philosophy, because it does help you in like to form yourself, right? That's why it's also pretty but you don't want to fall in that trap of, oh, I'm reading this, I am now 200% smarter than I was, which means I am smarter than pretty much anyone. I think that is a common mistake people do who start reading philosophy, and then that it basically the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? When you start, you think you are like on the top, and then the more you read, you're like, yeah, I didn't know shit back in the day. I didn't know anything. I was just a moron talking. So yeah, you gotta remain a little humble, just to avoid embarrassing yourself and pushing people away, because that's also pretty common. Oh, I see. I didn't put it on theater mode. Yeah, again, I am not that smart. So all of this, take all of this advice, or like all this unsolicited advice, with a hint of salt, a grain of salt, because I'm just rambling and ranting. I love to rant. That's why I like philosophy. It's just people ranting over and over about the same topics for thousands of years.
It's great to live in a country where I can casually enjoy cozy erotica about a young woman who milks her way to financial security and true love with a minotaur. This is what freedom looks like, and I intend to fully enjoy it before the Supreme Court takes this right away next. If this is what freedom looks like, I'm really rethinking my stance on freedom, not gonna lie. Maybe we should have less of it. All I know is if Donald Trump takes the monster porn, we are going to make 2020 look like a picnic, okay? Bull cock matters. Oh my god. Edit that out. Editor, edit that out. Women are gonna be picking up Animal Farm now, like, where's the horse cock? Some of you people always...
Yeah, I never published the video, and I deleted it because I was running out of storage. But when the movement of collective scream, collective shout, started censoring video games, it was all Karens, and I know, like, I am 100% sure they had these types of books on their bookshelves. So I said, what if we do the opposite and we start banning these books? They would be so pissed. But yeah, I never published a video because I screwed up the sound, and then I got too busy, and it was like already like late news. So yeah.
A certain streamer an apology because this book has way too many 5 stars. Some of you are lying. So after buying this book, Amazon has given me a few interesting recommendations. Would you like to see them? I accidentally summoned a demon boyfriend. That time I got drunk and saved a demon. Gentling the beast. Cupcakes for my orc enemy. Mane of my existence. The gargoyle and the spinster. The widow and the orcs. Hoarded by the dragon. There's something about dragons. Getting it on with gargoyles. Gotten by the gator. Mated to the mountain bear. Oh, so this is why they chose the bear. The billionaire orc. Moth manager. Wolves and whipped cream. The wolf in my tavern. Pounded by produce. Oh, are these the books the Nazis burned?
My husband only reads finance and sci-fi books, and so I think it's about time that I introduce him to some real literature. So the first book that I would like to introduce you to is called Morning Glory Milking Farm. And it's not a normal milking farm like with cows. What it is it's big, bulky minotaurs, and it's a special type of milking.
Why are you like, it's clearly recommended for a woman? Like, maybe if you found a book about a guy and a succubus, okay, I get it. But why about the male partner is a minotaur? He is not going to relate in any capacity to it. Maybe in the like basic ones, right? Like wanting to provide, wanting to be strong, wanting to all that stuff, like the basic men feelings. But not about being a fucking minotaur.
See, honey, she's his stepsister, and she got stuck in the washer machine again.
Yeah, basically.
Women on TikTok are openly, proudly talking about the porn they consume and getting mad at people when they make fun of it. I hereby ban men from reacting to romantasy on TikTok. Best-selling romantasy books like A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Fourth Wing contain descriptions of hot sex. I feel like that's common knowledge, if not their primary purposes. But in recent months, book talk has become full of men clutching their pearls while reacting to steamy scenes from these popular female-centered books.
Okay, I actually remember the scene from Friends where Joey discovers like a book of Rachel. And it was basically this, right? Like erotic stuff. And he just goes, "Oh, you read porn," and jokes about it. And the reason why he jokes about it and laughs, it's because she tries to deny that it is porn. She's constantly denying it, and it's false. So it's that little hint of hypocrisy and trying to be on the. I mean, of course, Joey was a dumb character, right? If he was written to be dumb, so this wasn't his take. This is my take. That it's those hints of hypocrisy that Shu has also mentioned, that if a guy revealed what kind of porn or hentai he likes, he would be made fun of too. But because, oh, it is a book, then it is highly elevated material. It's only for intellectuals. And it's that, and that's how they try to shield themselves. Which is honestly just dumb, right? Just admit it. I mean, yeah, maybe it's just like as raw as watching a full-on video. But it's still pretty much the same thing. Just admit it.
Obviously, this is all a massive performance. We live in the age of OnlyFans. The odds are that these men have seen actual porn that defies the laws of physics and God. Over 90% of men between the ages 16 and 73
but they admit
watch
it, or
porn in any random
to hide it, and
There's
they admit it
statistically
too.
no way all of these guys are shocked by the sex itself. What they are gawking at is sex from the perspective of female desire, scenes that depict women coming first and frequently. And what they are surprised by is the women they know love these scenes. In one video, a guy declares, "Now I know why women enjoy book clubs and wine." But his astonishment in itself is astonishing. Like, what do you think adult women were into? Not having sex and drinking wine?
Do they talk? Now I'm curious if they talk about this in book club, because I always thought it was just discussing like hard books. Now I think it's discussing hard things in books. Okay, my paradigm has completely, my way of thinking about book clubs has completely changed.
Wine, grow up. Imagine a group of men
Yeah.
sitting around drinking wine, discussing the porn they watch. That is what you guys are essentially doing. It's just
Yeah, again, it's also, wine is the book of alcohol. Like, why is it that people think that drinking wine makes you intellectual? Like an intellectual? When it doesn't. It's just, if you drink wine, it's because you like the flavor. That's it. You are not special. Just the way that if you drink beer, it's because you like the sensation mostly. I get it's a status thing because, oh, if you pay for the high-end stuff, it means you're rich. It means you are a cultured man or like a cultured person. It's just dumb. It's just marketing. It's, of course, there is differences in quality, but there I always love when people troll, like they put like box wine in a bottle of something like expensive, and people drink it and they say, oh, this is completely worth the money, and it's just the same wine they would get for like $2. I love those type of things. There's a lot of people that don't really understand or the nuances of it, and they just act for status. But yeah.
Funny, okay? Like, it's funny. Are we really going to pretend that a story about a young woman getting a job milking mythical creatures to pay off her student debt is not funny? It's funny. If that makes me a sexist or misogynist, you got me. To act like you are so different.
It would be the same thing if there is like a hentai about a guy, like a lactation based hentai, you know, like a guy milking female minotaurs for money. It would be like the same. It would be criticized even more than this.
And above the other gooners is just, it's silly.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry,
just
but
silly.
you are no different than Joe Schmo jorking it to fat booty Latinas in Space 12. You're sitting there all high and mighty, one hand on the book, acting like you're so superior because you can perfectly envision a horse cock spinning 360 degrees in your mind. I'm not impressed. The scenes these men are reading, to many people, myself included, are insanely sexy. But purely in terms of the acts being described, they aren't all that lurid. And as many of the comments on these videos point out, there's much wilder stuff out there. For example, these men have clearly not yet discovered nodding, a popular term in romantasy right now that involves werewolves whose penises get so swollen after sex.
Furries have dominated this field for decades, since DeviantArt started.
They have to stay inside their partners until the swelling subsides. Oh!
I mean, dogs invented
honey,
too,
that's not a popular trend in romantasy. That's just a thing real dogs do. Oh, you just don't get it. You don't know what nodding is. What are these women reading, bro? What happened to that, like, stupid fucking corny Hallmark thing, going home for Christmas to your hometown and falling in love with the cute farmer boy? What happened to that? We used to make fun of that. We truly did not know what we had until it was gone. Yeah. Now women out here fantasizing about getting their asses clapped by demons and werewolves and goblins and ghouls. I remember when 50 Shades of Grey came out and people were like, oh my god, this is so crazy. Women are crazy. 50 Shades of Grey looks like missionary sex through a bedsheet for the sole purpose of procreation compared to the shit the average woman on TikTok is reading. At least.
Also, I have a few friends that are into like the BDSM communities, and they have told me that 50 Shades of Grey did a massive disservice to the PR of BDSM. That it's just basically a toxic relationship, which it kind of explains why it's poorly accepted for a lot of people.
At least Christian Grey was a human man and not a fucking dog! You fantasize about dating the quiet, shy, nerdy girl. You know, she's innocent, she's pure, she's not like those other girls, like, going out clubbing and hooking up with random men. No, she's at
Everyone
home,
knows this.
curled up by the fire in a blanket, reading a book. Except that book is about f***ing a half-man, half-bull. Let me let you in on a little secret. The quiet, nerdy girl is way more of a freak than the average hoe. Are you kidding me? It's not even close. The average...
Yeah, it's why people say it's always the quiet ones.
hoe might have a body count of like 15 or so, but the quiet nerdy girl is fantasizing about getting back shots from Cthulhu. That is at least 100 bodies. Yeah. Now listen, there's nothing inherently wrong with fantasizing, okay? There's nothing wrong with roleplay. You know, fiction is fiction, right? You know, you're not actually going to bang your stepsister, right? These women are not actually going to bang a cow. Or at least I hope not.
Yeah,
we all know there is a difference between fantasy and reality. Well, what happens when they try to bring fantasy into reality? Well, you get Sinners and Stardust.
Oh, this was the convention she mentioned earlier. Oh yeah, Pyramid Head also has a lot of fans.
What in the eyes wide shut is going on here? Sinners and Stardust was supposed to be a dark romance ball for romantasy authors and fans alike. So what's the big deal? Seems like a fun, sexy time, right? Maybe, if you're a woman. If you're a man, the night may have gone a little differently for you. Alright y'all, it appears I have to make a post that I'm frankly pretty goddamn upset I have to make. This post is for the readers who don't understand consent and boundaries only. A lot of you may know my good friend Animus. He's attended a signing of mine in the past and obviously is a musical artist. This past weekend, he attended Sinners and Stardust and probably had one of the most heartbreaking experiences. So listen, he's a man, right? But do we think that means it's okay to put your hands all over him without consent? Or to put your hands in his waistband or down his pants or touch his dick? Hello? Do we think it's okay to quite literally back him into a corner and touch all over him to the point that he literally cannot tell how many hands are on him and whose are whose? Do we think it's okay to send him into an actual panic attack because of this? Furthermore, do we think it's okay to interrogate him and insist he detail how he'd kidnap a woman despite him repeatedly saying he wouldn't do that and, you know, that shit is fiction, and then attempt to follow him when he tries to get away? And if that wasn't enough, during the time of this mob, him and another author received notification that an air tag was tracking him, which showed on his person all the way to his hotel room. They molested this guy until he passed out from anxiety, and then they put a f***ing tracker on him in order to stalk him back to his hotel. This poor—
they deserve jail, basically. It's not, this is not drama. This is literally criminal activity.
Poor guy dressed like a character in one of the romantasy books at this romantasy convention full of women. That is like throwing roast beef into a pit of wolves. Or in this case, throwing a wolf into a pit of roast beef. I remember years ago there was this thing called Cosplay is Not Consent. Basically, it was a campaign to bring attention to the fact that people at conventions would often come up to women dressed in sexy costumes and just grope and grab them without their consent. Yeah, apparently we have to bring that back because these women did not get the memo. I've been a furry for over a decade and attended a lot of fur cons. Sure, sometimes weird shit happens, but honestly, I can't believe the dark romance crowd is out here acting like this. Like, me and my buddies in our fursuits are more respecting of consent and bodily autonomy. Get your shit together, y'all. When the furries are calling you out for being freaks, you need to reflect. Yeah. Something has gone horribly wrong. Not only were the men at this book talk convention assaulted, but women were also assaulted by women. Yeah. Multiple women, including a performer, reported being assaulted there as well. Even an author there said she was groped and dragged away from her friends and said no matter how many times she said no, quote, "My words did nothing." May I remind you, this is a book convention, okay? For books. It's literal BDSM clubs are more respectful than this. There needs to be...
It's a porn convention, basically, for people who try to hide that it's actually porn. And also BDSM, it's pretty... There was a meme that BDSM is the most autistic form of sex because you have two or multiple people writing all the rules and what they can do and what they can't do, and putting in safe words, and basically they go through a whole list of preparation before anything starts. So yeah, of course it's safer.
Be more studies on how this stuff affects women's brains, because clearly some are unable to tell the difference between fantasy and reality. Ivy Lipton, a doctoral candidate in human sexuality, actually wrote about this for EV magazine. I don't know what a doctoral candidate in human sexuality is, but she's hot, so I trust her. Your brain on orgasms isn't neutral. Dopamine release during climax is a powerful conditioning agent. What you repeatedly fantasize about becomes necessary for arousal. If your erotic imagination centers around abuse, monstrous violence, and submission to non-human entities, your brain is reprogramming itself to crave just that. It's not empowerment, it's neuroplasticity at its darkest. Okay, scientists, psychologists, and the general public often state that men are visual and women are emotional. When it comes to sex, men can be turned on instantly by a sexual image to spite their mood, and women need to be turned on emotionally to get in the mood. So it stands to reason that porn for men is visual and porn for women is in the mind. I'm not equating porn to smut novels, because one is a video of two people actually having real sex, and the other is, well, just words on paper. I am, however, talking about the effect on the consumer. We know watching porn is bad for the brain. That's been proven and only rejected by gooners who don't want to give it up. But is reading smut bad? You might say, duh, that's the whole point. Okay, fair enough. So let me rephrase, is reading smut harmful? Should we shame people for things that are wrong, immoral, or harmful? In my line of work, I've been told many times that shame has no place in sex. But if I use my brain for 2 seconds, it's clear that line of thinking is nonsense. Incest should be shamed, bestiality should be shamed, pedophilia should be shamed. I'm not equating monster smut with these things, but there are 50 shades of gray, so to speak, along the spectrum of harmful. Conditioning your brain and body to associate pleasure with monsters, slavery, or sexual violence is not healthy. Basically, they're cooked. Like, women are cooked. They are frying their brains with this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this is just words. I mean, it's always said that words are insanely powerful, and so yeah, I don't believe that, oh, these are just words, because those words create an image, and those words create sensations and feelings, and people even get attached to characters because they read words. So you can't just dismiss this as just, oh, it's just words, it's just ink on a paper. No, it goes a little deeper.
It's a pipeline, right? It's like the infamous evil alt-right pipeline. You know, you start watching Shoe on Head, owning the feminists in 2015, and then in 2025, you're hailing Hitler, right? You know, the alt-right pipeline. And this one's like...
Is that going to be me?
Like, you're reading Morning Glory Milking Farm, and the next thing you know, you're Mrs. Hands, right? Just say no. Just say no to monster porn. But why is monster smut so popular with women in particular? Like, you rarely see the opposite, and when you do, it's just like a girl with cat ears and fangs, or like a 10-foot-tall dommy-mommy vampire.
Yeah, or like I said, the a succubus, right? It's just a woman with a succubus tail and and little horns. That's pretty much it.
The giant titties. Meanwhile, women are like, I want to the pollution monster from Fern Gully. So people on Reddit asked this very question.
Okay, I'm going to just say what I think. One is the vibes of the character. Like it was more previously said, women tend to be more linked into the emotional factor. And also, like I previously said, millennial women are pretty into feminism. They grew up with feminism. So being submissive to men, even in fantasy, can be a little hard for them. So they just replace it. Or maybe they even had bad relationships or bad encounters with men, bad memories in general. So they just replace men with monsters and now it's fine. Now they don't have to relive that. Now they don't have to dig into it.
Let's see the responses. Why do you guys like monster romances? Asking for a friend. Several reasons. 1, human men are quite often terrible. Romance books with human men are already partly fantasy, but monsters just takes the fantasy bit further. 2, it's sort of human nature to imagine relationships with paranormal beings and creatures. We've been doing it in literature and art for centuries. It's just gotten a lot more graphic now, lol. 3, unique body forms / parts and so many different kinds of dicks. Scary, mean, terrifying creature is sweet to her, kind, takes care of her, protects her, works hard to be gentle, etc.
Okay, that is also pretty common in animes, right? Like I saw a few and it's always like the delinquent that falls in love with the like super studious women, right? Like the woman, like the class president. And he is mean to everyone, but he is kind to her.
Maximal escapism, minimal association to real-life assholes, the patriarchy, misogyny, and oppression of women, etc., etc. Because the monsters are less dangerous than dating actual men. As a fat woman of color, modern, contemporary, and even fantasy romances are hard to click to because they are almost always about thin white women and just too realistic, and romance in real life is not always attainable for fat women / women of color. In monster alien romance, though, my size doesn't matter and it's easier to get into that headspace and enjoy it. I'm sick of the men on Earth and looking for some variety. Non-humans haven't betrayed and hurt me, so they feel like a safe haven, if that makes sense. Plus the unusual dick. Monsters have big, fun-shaped cocks. I love some bizarre peen. Unique genitalia. I don't know what I was expecting, honestly. A lot of women's smut, especially monster smut, is about submission, domination, forced breeding, non-consensual consent. The women are like conquered and taken and overpowered by these monsters. And I think many of these women are reading these books containing monsters and not men because masculinity and dominance in men has been completely demonized in modern society. Exactly. But the truth is, many women still crave it. You see, the monsters in these stories have those like dominant masculine traits that women like so much, but they're not human men. They have all these traits women desire without the problematic baggage human men bring, without being the men they hate or have been told to hate. It is the perfect guilt-free slop. But they don't just want a wild dominant man. They want to tame a wild dominant man. Similar to when a man sees an art hoe with a nose ring, you can save her from her daddy issues. You can do it. It definitely won't backfire and ruin your life. Go for it. Go talk to her. With many women, there's this desire for like danger and aggression, but also the desire to tame that danger and aggression. The desire to be that special woman who can melt his heart. You see, my dragon boyfriend could rip me to shreds and kill me instantly, but he won't because he's nice and he loves me. But honestly, at the end of the day, just like the video I made about the anime girl in a wheelchair where men were saying, this is the average male fantasy, and a bunch of women were like, you wanna rape a disabled girl? When in reality, it was just a distilled manifestation of the average male fantasy, which is to protect and provide for a sweet woman and save her. This is like basically the flip of that, right?
Yeah,
this is just the distilled manifestation of the female fantasy.
Yeah.
Men are seeing this and they're saying, what do you mean you want to milk a minotaur? When in reality, it's just to have a big, strong protector and provider swoop you up and save you. And like I said in that video, They are basically both the same fantasy. This is a tale as old as time, the princess being saved from the dragon by a knight in shining armor, whether the dragon be a wheelchair or student loans, you know? But in this case, the woman is being f***ed by the dragon, and the knight sits in the corner and watches or something, I don't know. Maybe it's not that deep. There are some hungers better starved than fed. And maybe as women, for the sake of society, we have to starve our hunger for minotaur p***ness. Yeah, that's the moral of this video. So what do you guys think? What is your theory? Why is the monster romance genre so popular with women in particular? And who is your weirdest hear me out? Be honest. I don't want to hear no Lola Bunny, okay? You all know mine already. It's not that he's a fish, okay? He has an energy, okay? He has a vibe.
Okay, this is exactly what I said previously. It's the vibe of the character.
You know what, never mind. And I will see you guys again really soon with a new video. Bye!
Okay, let me go for my hear me out. Okay, but yeah, I think this is my weirdest hear me out. I think you can guess why. I think this is my like absolutely worst hear me out. But I also think you can assess why it would be it. Okay, but yeah, that would be it for today.